Most players warm up wrong. These are the 5 things that you need to fix. Josh here from PH Tennis, and today I'm going to be helping us improve our warm-up protocols. This is about how to maximise the time we have before we start a match to make sure we can perform our very best from the very first point. Now, you may think this is physically about your body, but it's not just about that. It's about getting your mind ready, starting to work out some tactics and understanding how your decision making is going to play out through those opening few games. It's a really easy chance to get some nice early breaks. So if we get these few things right, we can give ourselves a little advantage as we get into the match. Some of these ideas come from Brad Gilbert's book, Winning Ugly. Now, if you do like a good tennis book, then check out our top 5 tennis book video, which myself and Ben put together. There's some very interesting books that you should have a little read through to help, but I've picked out some gems from this one, as well as some others that I've picked up along the years of being a tennis player and tennis coach, to give you the best 5 things to do during a tennis warm-up. Normally I do my 5 ideas in progressively important order. Today I'm going to do them in chronological order. So the first tip I have is the first thing you should do, and that is to serve. And you might be thinking, well, a serve happens at the end of the little 5-minute warm-up I get. How can I do that first? My opponent will think I'm a weirdo. Well, you do it before your opponent gets there. The serve is the most important shot in tennis, as we all know. We need to make sure we warm our body up and calibrate ourselves for that particular environment, that court surface, this type of ball, the conditions, whatever we're doing, to make sure our serve is ready to go. And we're going to get to a little bit later, but if you, during the warm-up, your serve is already warmed up, you can focus on the return and on looking at your opponent's serve, not your own. So get there early, get your serve warm-up done, so you have that in the bank, so when the opponent arrives, you're ready to go. You have one shot already warmed up, ready to progress. Tip number 1. We've warmed up our serves, our opponent has arrived, we're walking on the court to commence our 5-minute racket warm-up with them. Which end do I take? You take the bad end. And that could be sun in your eyes, wind in your face, distractions going on behind you, whatever it may be. You warm up in the suboptimal position. You try and get used to and learn to deal with the challenging conditions that you're faced with, whilst your opponent is thinking, God, what a lovely day, sun on my back, wind behind my shots, this is all lovely. Whereas you are starting to really delve into the detail, scrap and figure out how you're going to compensate for the slight challenges there may well be. So when you go on that court, always just take yourself to that bad end. That is going to help you in those opening games where you're already adjusted and your opponent is yet to face it. We are now in the meat of the warm-up. We're playing up and down, we're rallying, we're starting to feel each other out. And there are 2 tips within this zone for us to cover off. One is, as internally, is to really try and not miss. Is to really try and be as solid as you can. That gets us in the right frame of mind for when we start. In the warm-up, we don't want to be all loose and throwing the ball around, firing it everywhere, and then get to that first game and be like, all right, now I need to start being solid and get myself in. No, we want to start that warm-up how we want to play those first few games. Solid, tight, not missing. So in that warm-up, we need to make every single ball be really focused on that objective. Think about your opponent going, God, this guy never misses. You're already in their head. Everything keeps coming back no matter what. And so they're already going to think, God, maybe I'm going to have to do a little bit more to get something out of this match. You're in their head already. They're going to start maybe going for more, trying to do too much, and you're starting to win that tactical battle before you've even started. The second half of this is to start to look at weaknesses. Do they run around their backhand? Do they like the ball high? Do they like it low? Do they like it fast? Do they like it slow? Mix it around and have a look and see what you get. But once you then find the weakness, it may be a backhand. It may be when the ball is low, stop giving it to them. Give them no more chance to practice it. We want to save that for the match. So once you see someone's got a slightly dodgy high backhand, they don't need any extra practice. You've seen enough. You wait and you hold that back. You keep giving them what they like. You hide and you start to understand what you're going to use for later. We're getting towards the end of our warm-up. We have we've rallied from the back. We've done some volleys. It's time to serve. But remember, we have warmed up our serve. We are ahead of the game. So now it is a chance to do some returns after the serve. Equally, the most important shot in tennis, the return of serve, but we don't warm it up specifically because we're too busy warming up our own serve. This is your chance to understand your opponent's serve. Its speed, its spin, its direction, any cues. Do they look where they're going to serve? Does their arm move? Does their ball toss change based on the serve they're doing? All the little information that you can start to get to give you a little hint in that opening game or two to start to read and understand their serve. We don't have to worry about the return because you're not in the point. We want to work out our distances, and in fact we've got a whole video on return of serve where you'll start to understand. You're trying to unpick a sensation early and understand where you need to be on the court to return, and this is the time you have to start trying to figure that out, and you can really get ahead of the game in the warm-up. But you can only do this if you've done the serve at the start, so get there early and warm up your serve so in this final few minutes you can really focus on the return. We've finished the warm-up, we've come to the net, we've shaken hands again, and we have decided it's time to decide who is going to serve, return, or end, etc. Now, we always want to try and get our opponent to serve first. We've just had a load of advantage returning some of their serves, so we think we're freshly in. That will have maybe put them off a bit. Maybe they've tried to avoid you, so they actually haven't warmed up the serve as thoroughly as they would like because they're avoiding your return. You're going to put them at the bad end, so now they're serving into the sun, into the wind, what they're not used to. They probably aren't fully warmed up because it's the very start of the game. It is your best chance to break their serve. When you do that coin flip, when you do that racket twizzle, you need to make sure they are serving down the bad end. And you can obviously do that. If you win the toss, you don't have to select one. You can ask them what they would like. Most players will say, oh, I'll serve. You then have the option to choose the ends. Do whatever you can to manipulate the situation to make sure they are serving in the bad end so you can start fast, get that early break, and set yourself up for victory. There you have it, my top 5 tips in chronological order to help you win that early battle, to get you warmed up, to get you zoned in so you can execute the best tennis you can early on in the match. This is something that we see players struggle with all the time, and you'll hear people saying, oh, it always takes me a set to warm up, or it always takes me a bit of time to get going. That is not a good excuse. Every point matters. The first point may be your best chance to win. Your first service game when they're serving might be your best chance to break their serve in the entire 3-set match. So you must grab it. And the best way to do that is to have your warm-up under your belt. If you have any other top 5s that you'd like us to do, or if you think, oh, my coach told me about this little warm-up trick, put it in the comments. Let's share some ideas. Let's see if there's anything else out there that can improve all our tennis performance. If you've enjoyed the video, please give us a like. Obviously, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything else. From myself, Ben and Joe at PH Tennis.